You start a fresh expression, you hand the leadership over, it then begins to run into difficulties and declines. What do you do? Do you go back? So the first thing I'd say is that a gift is not a gift unless you let it go. So you've got to hand the leadership over at some stage. Otherwise, you're not giving it to people. So that's the first thing you have to do. But secondly, you can do that in quite a gentle way. So you hand over gradually. And if the time comes for you to withdraw from a fresh expression, I mean, I know a minister, she started a brilliant fresh expression, and then she had to leave. You can do that in a gentle way. So you can say to folks, actually in a couple of months' time, I'm going to have to go. But, we can do this bit by bit. So I'm going to, begin to hand stuff over to you. I'm going to be here, and then there are going to be some weeks when I'm not here. But don't worry, I'll come back. And then when I leave after 2 months, I'm going to come back and visit you. And you know what? I've said to the leaders that they can be in touch with me any time. In fact, we're going to Zoom call once a month to begin with, so that they can talk to me about how they're getting on, and if they want my wisdom, they can have it, but they might just want to tell me that they're doing a much better job than I ever did. So we're going to have these meetings together. And so you kind of phase yourself out in stages. And that stops this abrupt cliff edge. I was here one moment, Ghana next, which in some communities can be really hurtful, and they feel abandoned, especially if in a community of poorer people, where the government agencies and the voluntary agencies, people are always leaving. They come for a time, they earn their spurs, they get promotion because of what they did with you, and then they leave. And so in the church, when that happens again, that is really, really, really painful. And so to phase yourself out slowly is a really great thing to do. And you're doing actually what St. Paul did, because St. Paul kept in touch with his churches. He wrote them letters when there were difficulties. He sent them Timothy and Titus and so on. And sometimes he revisited them when he was able to. So you're actually simply only doing what St. Paul did. You're following his example. Now, what happens if the church then begins to go on hard times? If you keep in touch with them, then it may be that they can turn to you for advice and wisdom. And this is what happened with Paul's New Testament churches. The Corinthian church wrote to him, letters and say, we've got all these questions. What do we do? And so I think there's a role for that kind of apostolic leadership. Now, how that works within our mainstream denominations is a real problem. And we've yet to work out systems where we can hand the leadership of the church over, but where the old leader can still be in touch with the new fresh expressions. And the Church of England, we haven't even begun to address that question, but we should do, and we will do, I'm sure it's on stage. So my advice is, keep in touch formally with that fresh expression, withdraw gradually, keep meeting with the leaders and mentoring them and encouraging them. If there are problems, then work with the leaders as to how they can sort the problem out, because they need to be the agents to change that. You don't want to come back with the agent of change, because that just cements all the dependence on you. So you need to work with the new leaders and work with them, praying with them, encouraging them, exhorting them, and so on, so that they begin to find the solutions. And the best thing you can be as a leader who's leaving is an encourager. Be a Barnabas all the time. Encourage the new leaders. Bless them with your encouragement. Because if you encourage them, they will ask you for your advice. But if you don't encourage them, they won't want to meet with you, and so they won't pick your brains. So if you want to be able to mentor these folks, you only have one option, and that is to encourage them. So just encourage them, bless them with your prayers, bless them with your positiveness, see all the good that they're doing and affirm it. Close your eyes a little bit to some of the things you wouldn't do. Accept that it's going to be different. Rejoice in the fact that they're taking it in a different direction. Celebrate it. You would never have done that, but they have. This is a sign that you've handed it over to them. This is a sign that it's working, that they're taking a gift. You give a gift to a child, you give a gift of an aeroplane to the child, but in the child's hands, that aeroplane becomes a tractor. It becomes a rocket. It becomes a boat. So this is what happens to gifts. people use them in ways that you didn't expect, so be prepared.
It's good. I hope you wrote all of that down, all of you who are listening.